Introduce.
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 Introduce yourself. Introduce yourself. Introduce yourself.
Before I begin, I would like to introduce an old friend. To introduce an old friend. To introduce an old friend. My former student and the hero of the second Mass, Tom Mason. Tom.
Librarian for a moment. I want to introduce her to some elite donors.
It's the nitty-gritty. Is that order okay? Or do you want to introduce everyone?
I'll introduce you. You introduce your team. He knows this is a high-level meeting.
The person I'm about to introduce to you was a standout high school point guard.
Dad, I want to introduce someone.
Oh, God.
This is Adam. Adam. Dad.
It's good to meet you, sir.
Partner at Popform. I just wanted to introduce myself.
Oh. You're kind of pretty.
Well, perhaps it's because we haven't been properly introduced. I'm Ethan White, by the way.
You're Ethan White?
Yeah.
It's time to introduce them to the cure.
Mr. Mosley,
May I introduce ourselves? I am Mrs. Crawley, and this is my son, Mr. Matthew Crawley.
Sheila, would you like to introduce our guests?
This is Bill and Martha.
Assure.
Assure.
Assure. Assure.
Assure.
We're under attack here, people. You're gonna have to raise your game. I can assure you that Obama's people are all over this shit.
Look as closely as possible. Because the tricks you are about to see may not seem connected, but we assure you, they are. Is what follows 100 different tricks?
This is a hoax, right? Mrs. Clinton. I assure you no.
No.
A contradiction in terms. That's what I keep trying to tell him.
I assure you that my intentions are purely that of the state and the party.
Angie's journal, that gesture of good faith, that's a fake.
I assure you it's not.
Do you look like her?
She was prettier, I can assure you.
Yes. But I assure Your Honor that it will in no way affect my ability to prosecute this case.
Evidence. I can call our investigator over here to lay it all out.
My friends don't like this stuff. They can swallow the fact that there are no women in the race, but this just rubs it in their face.
Well, I can assure your friends that it is a lie.
Your answers are unique in summation.
I assure you I can handle it, Doctor.
Get away from me. Get away! Hugo, I know you're in trouble. And I can assure you I've taken care of everything.
Me here? But I assure you, son, I'm the same man I've always been.
I remember. Look, I want to talk to Penny. Penny!
She's not here. But I assure you, both she and your son are perfectly safe.
Zone. Zone. Zone.
Zone.
Zone.
All officers, Tate County and firefighters. Nobody goes back in. All members out of the collapse zone. Collapse zone. Collapse zone. Everybody back up. Back.
The tail was recovered in Zone 1. Zone 1. Zone 1. That's a kill beam. It was recovered in Zone 2, about half a mile away.
When he was poisoned.
Exactly. That is our kill zone. Kill zone. Kill zone.
Hey!
You want to go into a war zone and tell our boys what they can and cannot blow up. That's the idea. I used to love making cupcakes. It was the one thing I could zone out and do without thinking, and now all I'm doing is thinking.
Hey, girls, how you doing? Darius the Hilarious is pumped. I'm totally in my zone right now.
His aide said that he left the event at 9 p.m. That's right inside of our kill zone.
Fine. What's his motive?
A little messy. This place is a disaster zone.
He stays in his comfort zone. Drove our dad nuts.
Take over for me here. Oh, this is Chuck Fowler. He's 21 years old. Zone 2 injury of the neck, secondary to Gray's GSW.
CFD, gonna take a little trip. CFD.
go back there often or all the time?
I mean, people hear the name, they react like it's a war zone, but...
Sore.
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 You order the same thing every time.
I know I do, but in my heart, I want to spread my wings and soar. Soar. Soar.
Me? No, I'm going to continue to enjoy my earnings. And while I soar on princely wings to my next winning enterprise.
Love. Soar, 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 my boy. Be bold and fearless.
Gotcha! Well, that paid off, old girl. Your ratings have soared from the most hated Prime Minister of all time to the nation's darling.
Macedonia. Its value would soar.
16th Cherokee, ready for child to soar like eagle. Oh, God.
To once again soar over the oceans. Taste the clouds.
Family values. Without her doctor and his pimply-faced brood, she could soar as high as this plane.
Then I'm going to spit it back into the mouths of the children of the world. Nourish their souls, help you to grow, watch your wings spread, and help you to soar.
My thoughts soar with the tales these streets could tell of the Madonna's long journey to Paris and her triumphant return with the fall of Napoleon.
Reynolds' popularity continues to soar in the Midwest, with appearances scheduled in Indianapolis, Detroit, and Flint, Michigan later in the week.
And that kids like me, that I would soar after high school.
Extensive.
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 Staff Sergeant Dignam is our liaison to the undercover section. His undercover work is extensive. It's extensive. It's extensive. He's here to give us his report, Sergeant Dignam.
Hendricks, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin. The list is extensive. The list is extensive. The list is extensive.
Castle, we kind of need a different list. Like, who might have been in this trailer last night?
Oh, no. Norwegian prisons are surprisingly evolved. Decent food, comfy bed, extensive library, extensive library, extensive library.
9months ago. That's impossible. That damage was extensive.
A brilliant someone. In this case, a brilliant someone with extensive medical knowledge and real reason to pay close attention to the sudden death of 2 of his surgical patients.
I was working on a case where I was required to spend quite a bit of time in London's extensive network of underground tunnels and catacombs.
As I also pointed out.
Brain hemorrhaging, pretty extensive on the left side.
You see, I've had extensive dealings with the Earl over the years. And so I'd long heard of the tragedy that befell.
According to Celebrity Examiner, Christina is notorious for seducing famous men with her extensive bikini collection.
Previous injuries?
Yes, your sister has extensive scar tissue over her entire body.
We did the best we could under the circumstances, but her injuries were extensive.
I'm afraid he can't do anything. The damage to his temporal lobe was too extensive. He's not the same, and since Simmons left, he's only getting worse.
Grab.
Grab. Grab.
Grab.
Grab.
Onto my neck. Grab onto my neck. Grab onto my neck. Don't let go.
Bot fights that way.
Gotta grab something. Gotta grab something. Gotta grab something.
I'll grab some beers. I'll grab some beers. I'll grab some beers.
But I suppose I could zip down and grab you another one.
Great, extra hot and 2 stevias. Oh, and while you're down there, would you mind dropping off my dry cleaning?
Hey, everybody, grab a glass. I just want to say to my best friend Brody, good luck in Hong Kong, man.
Tell me how you're all enjoying the feast. It's great. Grab a seat. Okay, I got him where I want him. I'm the dance over by the chalice. Viper, grab it, then Crane, grab Viper, and take off. What about you? I'll distract them so that you guys can get out. Then...
Here we go. Okay, if anyone tries to grab you, you just pull the string, release the ballast, and let the wind whisk you off to safety. Right? Huh?
Emily, let's go grab a cup of coffee. Okay?
Yes, why not do that? Thank you. Please go with them. Stay there.
Crazy cool, right?
How did you do that?
Grab my hand. Just give me a minute.
Yeah, me and Barry were actually gonna go grab lunch.
We were? Right, yeah. Duh.
Sounds like you're hungry. How about you and I grab some dinner?
I like you, kid.
Option.
Option. Option. Option. Option.
It's us. But Skipper, we've got to be 5 miles up. That pretty much limits our options.
I make my own option. Make my own option. Make my own option.
I see this is your only option. It is your only option. It is your only option. If you're lucky, you may yet escape castration.
No! No!
Need me.
I don't need you.
Oh, yeah? Who's your second in command?
I have options. Options. Options.
Everybody calm down!
Not great options.
You have 2 options. You can cancel the show, or you can do your best.
That's what you've done.
All we can do now is determine our best option.
Options. We have no options. We need time.
And you know what it is.
No, that's not an option.
We need to consider it.
I said no.
This is your best option.
Current destination is best option for water.
We got a problem in the lab.
What do you think? Charleston sounds like a much better option than the Catskills. Warmer, anyway. Staying here ain't an option.
But we will. There are so many options.
When can we take it for a test drive?
There is another option.
What?
I've been trying to send messages to my father on our subspace communicator.
Yeah?
Cargo.
Cargo. Cargo. Cargo. Cargo.
The Unicorn's manifest stated that it was carrying a cargo of rum and tobacco bound for Europe, but it was long claimed the ship was carrying a secret cargo. A secret cargo. A secret cargo.
The bridge is just up ahead.
What is this?
It's a cargo hold. It's a cargo hold. It's a cargo hold. They sent some down? It was too small to be a dropship. I'm thinking cargo pod, cargo pod, cargo pod.
No, they wouldn't arm a bunch of...
50%, man. They're all upstairs on the passenger deck.
Tell me about the cargo. Tell me about the cargo. Tell me about the cargo.
Nearly all here.
Search all the decks.
His wrath. For months now, he and his men have stolen from the Royal Fleet and then ransomed the cargo back at twice the cost.
A major cartel started dropping contraband from a big cargo plane. Tons of stuff.
What was the cargo?
Well, all Spooner told him was he got a last-minute call.
Well, a diplomatic pouch can be as small as an envelope or as big as a cargo container.
Whatever's being shipped, it's being sent out about once a month.
The restrooms, the galleys.
Good.
Cargo hold.
Great.
Even the overhead bins.
Are those the cargo manifests for the whole city?
Yeah. Although, I gotta ask. I'm full of terrors.
You carry more unpleasant cargo in your time. Give it to you?
No. I come from nothing. I hit the docks like a piece of cargo. Except someone normally cares what happens to cargo.
So you wanted more than you had and you took it.
How's our cargo doing? All quiet so far.
Why would the director do this?
Because of what's on the ship. We're carrying a cargo that we can't let Hydra get their hands on.
Disclose.
Disclose. Disclose.
Disclose.
Disclose.
Incredibly bright. I just need to know if she's in the advanced classes.
You know that we have a policy not to disclose that, to disclose that, to disclose that.
You shouldn't be driving, Mr. Stern. And unless you disclose your condition, disclose your condition, disclose your condition, you shouldn't be practicing law either.
Well, I'm not going to blindly help this guy. I mean, anything I find out, I'm going to disclose to both you and the prosecution.
Of course. Oh, gosh. I can't think of anything I haven't already disclosed.
You got what?
Coordinates, GPS. He doesn't want to disclose the location. I don't know what that means.
Baxter should have disclosed this.
They arrested a guy who fit the description Mrs. Baxter gave them, but she wouldn't come into ID.
Infringes on the Classified Information Procedures Act.
The composition of a meal does.
Yes. It could disclose the identity of fighters housed there.
Somebody already made a complaint to Human Resources. Who? You know I can't disclose that information.
Most who disclose vengeful motives merit the punishment that follows.
I gotta say, Director, no doubt, the best grilled cheese I've ever had.
Secret ingredient. Don't ask. I will not disclose.
Tailor.
Tailor.
Taylor.
Taylor. Taylor.
Isn't everything, right?
My father was a tailor. My father was a tailor. My father was a tailor. I like clothes. So what?
I saw the finish line and gave him every good idea I had. Who's this?
He's the new tailor. He's the new tailor. He's the new tailor.
And over here, we have the tailor's shop. Tailor's shop. Tailor's shop. They do really excellent work there.
Is there a tailor here?
You know, look at you and your tailor and your... Everything's cut right, and mine's, it's like a lumpy pumpkin.
Thank you. Now, follow me. Your costumes have arrived from Sir Taylor and Perry.
The Finnish Baron. Opening night of Il Trovatore at the Met. My suit was tailored, my cover was impeccable, but my heart wasn't in it.
I can't handle this. We're getting married in 5 hours. I don't have my perfectly tailored tux.
I grew up in this world. I know how it works. We're attracting serious people with serious money and tailoring an event to them.
Look at that. Now, proof of data, 3 p.m. at the tailor.
They're phrases that have been cherry-picked from a holy book and tailored to fit the lies they've told you.
You think I work for the government? I really must fire my tailor.
Accent.
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 Only direction it could be fired from. Excuse my accent. Excuse my accent. Excuse my accent. When I get passionate, my accent comes out more.
He hung up. He probably couldn't understand you with your fucking lame accent. Lame accent. Lame accent.
No, he understood me. He's Brooke.
We've never been on a real date.
It's okay. What's your cover?
Playboy son of a Texas oil tycoon.
Oh, well, I like the accent. I like the accent. I like the accent.
I'm glad you do, man. It's some metaphor we use mindlessly.
Yes, I have, Your Honor. Navy Pier. It's really good. Helps get out your aggressions.
What's your name again?
Damien Boyle.
And what part of Ireland?
Oh, no, the accent's fake. I'm from Queens.
There's a
Wow, and you let him do all of that?
I didn't really have a choice. He's kind of old school that way. Kind of like Ricky Ricardo with a different accent.
Yeah, Jocelyn.
Codes. Harry, stop. Listen, you have a sexy accent and the baby blues. So walk into Genside and make the clerk tell you the information.
I never smoke. By the way, why don't you have an accent?
I watched more TV.
Circuit. And Joe works it in town, parks in the handicap spots.
Jill Corleone.
She does the Jersey accent. It was kind of sad.
Just leave me alone.
I can't leave y'all alone. We's kinfolk.
Will you please stop talking like that?
Why? I needs to practice my new accent. Y'all did done good learning me the secret to popularity.
You're an angel. You are. I'm in love with you. I am. Positively in love with you.
That was your English accent?
Yeah.
Motivation.
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 Motivated you to come and see me in the first place?
My motivation was to get over my depression and to have a life with my husband.
Then that's what this will show.
Well, what if I...
Civilian on the crew's a good idea, Charlie. She's got the skill and she's got the motivation. The motivation. The motivation. Exactly. She's emotional.
I just wanted to ask you about motivation. About motivation. About motivation. Keeping something close to remind you. They've been talking about it in the meetings.
Right.
Well, that's probably not her motivation.
No, exactly.
Training day. Let me tell you something about that movie. That's motivation right there.
I'll show you what these streets is all about. It's the motivation.
I can't say I completely understand what motivates your brother.
Well, I tell you, I know a lack of motivation when I see it.
Oh, my.
Any idea about the motivation for last night's bomb?
We just ID'd him 20 minutes ago. There's a lot we have to learn about him yet.
What would a motivation be for killing Lance?
Well, it seems her divorce was a tad messier than she led us to believe.
Suffer.
Ooh, watching you suffer is a tempting motivation, but it wasn't that.
If you're shooting at the apple, what's the poison for?
Motivation not to miss. Felix! Get over here!
So you're saying Durant acted of her own accord?
I have no idea what her motivations were. I'm just as shocked as the president that she would have gone through with this without his direct approval.
That is exactly what he said.
His motivations were atrocious, yes, but his logic was sound.
Element. Element.
Element. Element.
Element.
You?
He brought the entire thing in, every element, every element, every element. I mean, look at it, it's the friggin' Sistine Chapel. I know the guy was an engineer or whatever, but man.
There's a lot of stuff in there, but it mostly focuses on transmutation, which is the process of altering the structure of an element by unzipping the atoms.
And rebuilding it to create an entirely new element.
I'm gonna hold on to this, in case you two run into some unsavory element.
Tiles, they're made of tungsten. Well, tungsten does have the highest melting point of any other element.
See, look, you can actually see it vibrate.
Of course, no, because there's more than one element.
And at last, he was in his element.
So much for the element of surprise.
With those elements? I can't think of a version that ends well.
Element of surprise is key. See, I can be circumspect. Folks would be lost without me.
Especially once a rogue element in China's own military claims responsibility.
A little of my element.
Look, I know you're out of your element. I'm fine.
But we still have the element of surprise on our side.
Identity.
Identity. Identity.
Identity. Identity.
His identity was compromised, and he wound up spending 2 years in a Taliban-controlled prison.
Her struggle to find her own identity, the emotional turbulence of a first crush.
If he feels like his identity may be compromised,
Houston, please confirm identity.
Make 3 visits to a neurological clinic under a false identity. Give blood, leave fingerprints, and not have us find out about it.
He's got a little bit of an identity crisis. He harassed my son, which meant that if they ever discovered their father's true identity, they'd have been able to sue for a piece of his considerable estate. Potentially.
I believe I've uncovered the real identity of Henry VIII. It all starts with the corpulent Abraham Zellner. It was an assumed identity, used for the express purpose of an obesity discrimination lawsuit. When the airline that Zellner sued made its first lowball offer of settlement, he accepted, probably because he knew that his false identity would not stand up to scrutiny.
She wanted her identity kept secret, but
So what is Captain Fallout's secret identity?
His name is Alex Baker.
Threaten.
Threaten.
Threaten. Threaten.
Threaten.
Doc was a man of honor.
And I am not. Threaten me again, threaten me again, threaten me again, and I'll have you thrown into the sea.
I'm sure Tyrion did not mean to threaten the king, threaten the king, threaten the king.
Maybe the grousing part.
So she didn't threaten to fire you, threaten to fire you, threaten to fire you.
Yes, sure, all the time, but... break your balls and threaten you. God, that would be hilarious.
Steal our victim and then threaten to sue us?
Sir, it's a legal chicken and egg problem.
Don't yell, don't bully, don't threaten them in any way. It's all about keeping them calm.
You threaten enough guys, you get a feel for their honesty.
But you wouldn't have really crushed them.
No, of course not.
I'm gonna go Puerto Rican on your ass. Since when do you threaten me?
My God, Odessa. You did not just threaten that.
Look, I'm having fun. So we're gonna go in and follow our normal game plan, and then I'm gonna grab the maid and threaten her.
If you ever threaten them again, you can find someone else to help you with your daddy issues.
Finally, feel me.
Threaten me all you want. If I talk, I'm a dead man.
Why would you do that, Danny? What'd you threaten him with?
He didn't threaten me. Steve, listen to me. I signed the paper. Everything's okay. Just please talk to Grace and tell her I'm okay, and then I'm gonna call her soon.
Pump.
Pump. Pump.
Bump.
Bump.
You should be able to hear the pump, pump, pump.
I can hear them.
His pain was beyond the point where we could even pretend to treat it. I showed him how to use the morphine pump. Pump. Pump.
Needs to be restocked.
Okay. You know what? She needs an extra onesie in case she craps herself. I think I better pump.
You got a pump?
I think I need to pump.
She wants your necklace. Give her your necklace. Now go pump.
Okay, don't you flat butts worry. I got this. I'm just gonna pump and dump.
Hey, you keep saying that.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm jazzed. I'm stoked. I'm just pumped, you know?
Yeah, I know it.
Nah, see, you gonna have to take that back. I need the... What do I need? The pump in style. Pump in style. Electric.
Well, now that's crazy talk. But if we pump the patient full of vascular endothelial growth factor...
The client's identity. I have to impersonate Rebecca, who's really Rachel, hoping he doesn't know that she isn't a biracial woman who has to pump every 3 hours.
Pump?
Now he's a blacksmith. Only one who can pump the bellows without using his hands.
This hair bun, the whole bit. But you need hose. Those offices pump in the AC.
Oh, nah. I'm warm-blooded. I'll be good.
Accommodation.
Accommodation. Accommodation. Accommodation.
Accommodation.
All new arrivals follow the yellow lights to your accommodation. 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 The yellow lights.
Here's my business. The Jesumians is to be taken to more secure accommodation. Accommodation.
Bobby?
These are improved accommodations. 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 This is improved.
Barracks over there, gonna be your accommodations.
Excuse me.
But here I got men to watch my back, get me the finest accommodations. They're not putting you in that thing.
And yours is?
Briggs, I understand you're in need of a meal and accommodations, Mr. Briggs.
You're not on the official manifest, so the accommodations may be less than comfy.
I don't care.
I hope you find the accommodations acceptable. You've done well for yourself.
Yeah, there are worse accommodations for a convicted felon. Can I get you something? Beer? Wine?
Testing our accommodations.
Kids. And I don't give a damn if you win a sweepstakes with a free trip with all accommodations.
There were some who advocated accommodation, who believed the enemy would only be enraged by outright rebellion.
Likelihood.
Likelihood. Likelihood.
Likelihood.
Likelihood.
What I'm about to divulge to you will, in all likelihood, get me killed. Actually, I guarantee it.
And I told him in all likelihood, I'll be seeing him next week. But
He may have been captured by S.H.I.E.L.D.
Then in all likelihood, he's dead too.
Meaning when it's firing, you got twice the water mass, twice the wave energy,
and twice the likelihood of drowning.
Doesn't do you any good right now. It's just a statistic. In all likelihood, Susie's probably hiding in the closet at her best friend's house playing Chinese checkers.
In all likelihood, her accomplice came to her, removed the bowl and all other incriminating evidence.
Idiotic. The kidnappers are being led by her former lieutenant. He is, in all likelihood, operating under her orders.
The likelihood that his targets would don bulletproof vests while still in the hotel was remote.
He said in all likelihood a lot of those men would follow him wherever he went, on account of his skills.
Last I heard, the divers are trying to fix it, but I don't know how much progress they're making. In all likelihood, we'll be in New Orleans way ahead of them.
I have to get out of this wheelhouse. The likelihood of you being spotted here increases 100-fold.
There's more than I have any likelihood of.
Mr. Mosley.
If the power core is on the moon, wouldn't it follow that the Ashvini have some kind of base up there?
In all likelihood, yes.
Possession. Possession.
Possession.
Possession. Possession.
She's mine now. Possession is 9 points of the law. And
Over, have a new adventure. I'm not too bothered by material possessions.
Right. The orb is in my possession. Possession. As I promised.
Spring breakers, you're not going to be charged with a narcotics possession because it wasn't found on your actual person.
I don't know. I don't believe in possession, do you feel?
Closure. She's in possession of the tape now, then. Don't pull that card on me.
I told you never to come in here again, Cutter.
Well, I just happen to have in my possession a little shopping list.
Their life miserable. Nail him on possession. Bishop won't touch Murphy's son.
You will not even inquire into possibilities other than possession.
Of course I will.
Queen, possession of a controlled substance, driving under the influence of a controlled substance.
The U.S. government.
Talbot took possession of the painting from the church this morning.
Well, Steve, possession of a stolen car is a theft.
Resign.
Resign. Resign.
Resign.
Send me home, Colonel, or I will resign.
You wanted to see me?
You can't resign. You can't resign.
You have an obligation to stay here and convince him to do his duty.
If you resign, I'm gonna leave you.
But I should have resigned.
You can't afford to resign.
Matter of principle. I have a standing in the scientific community, Mary. A reputation.
You have a mortgage.
2, 3, 4. Maybe I should resign. We could have a baby.
Don't worry, Mary. I got the original nice and safe. You resign, you step down, I'll keep my mouth shut.
Until debts are reasonably repaid.
As I insist you resign.
A majority of the board must approve executive hiring.
Keep it. I resign.
Courts opened a safe during overhaul. Yeah, they couldn't pin it on him, but he agreed to resign.
Look at me! You're not gonna resign.
I've decided to resign.
I think you're doing the right thing.
Infant.
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 Publicized case of Sabrina Eisenberg, an infant who was taken from her home in Tampa, Florida last year.
You were just a tiny infant.
I think this is a full skeleton. It's an infant.
Where do you think it came from?
You told my...
But, to be honest, it's a little hard for me to relate to an infant.
Seems kind of cool, though.
Oscar and Peter, who they're calling Nemo.
That's a lot of people.
Well, the last 3 are infant.
Weirdly, I'm not very good at reaching high things. A doctor once said to me I had the muscle capacity of an infant.
So what's up with the maps?
Detective Bell and I are in pursuit of a pair of infant zebras. It's 12 degrees. How long will you wait here listening to the unattended infant crying inside?
There's no baby in there.
Now I hear 2 infants.
Without food or water for a significant amount of time would be equivalent to leaving an infant in a car with a rolled-up window in the middle of summer.
I received a call that involved an infant mortality, and it really got to me.
Truck 81, ambulance 61, 425 Lake Street, infant shooting.
We gotta get this baby out of here.
We have an amber en route for the infant now that we've upgraded the situation to an emergency.
Inspection.
Inspection. Inspection. Inspection.
Inspection.
Nobody can tell me why, because it's a surprise. This is a surprise inspection. Inspection. Inspection.
Routine inspection. Routine inspection. Routine inspection. Had a blockage? Jimmy went to check it out.
And I don't see any mention of a meth lab. No. Oh, you got your termite inspection. Your termite inspection. Your termite inspection. That's good. But no meth lab.
Electrical systems. Core structural inspection.
Core structural inspection? That's a joke. That's an abandoned missile silo.
Why give them to me? Well, that's what Miss Everson wanted, in case you needed access for further inspection.
Miss Blake, by authority of the council, we're here to perform a random inspection.
Inspector Gruce, it's good to see you.
Passenger buses offer some unique advantages. They have their own border inspection area separate from commercial vehicles.
His decision to keep late hours has thus far prevented my inspection of his workplace, but I was able to route around to the basement beneath the building.
Evidence of his presence was clear, as upon inspection, the dairy goat's anus was irritated from overuse.
This last one here acknowledges that you have been informed that you may not re-enter the premises until it has cleared the post-fumigation inspection.
I'm missing 10 grand. You paid it to him to skip the inspection of your nightclub. Why'd you do that, Merlin?
Look, I gotta get back to work, but I'll see you tomorrow at the inspection, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
See how they like the stick.
Well, what might that look like?
We could raise inspection rates on foodstuffs.
Elaborate. Elaborate.
Elaborate.
Elaborate.
Elaborate.
When you offered to share your thoughts on my campaign, I wasn't expecting anything quite so elaborate. Elaborate. Elaborate.
Do you want to elaborate? To elaborate? To elaborate?
No, I think I said what I needed to say. So no elaborate escape from division plan this time.
How about you elaborate on that?
How about you stop with all the questions?
It is a bit over-elaborate.
I don't feel like creating some elaborate library.
Thank you. No, nothing elaborate, just a simple roast and something appropriate to go with it.
What have I told you? The plane was a fake. An elaborate, expensive fake.
What is she talking about?
Oh, it's a My Sweet Companion doll. They all have these elaborate backstories.
Care to elaborate? You're too close to this. This guy's like a daughter to you.
Oh my God.
Wow, these strippers really have elaborate backstories.
Oh, wow, really?
That we know of, the connections could all just be in his or her mind. Serial killers often develop elaborate rationalizations to justify their actions.
Tension.
Tension.
Tension. Tension.
Tension.
Sensing some tension.
No tension. No tension. No tension. We just want to meet him already. No bullshit.
Careful. The tension in that bow is 150 pounds. Snap it, you'll end up with carbon fiber shrapnel in your eyes.
Through there. And it puts a kind of a tension on things.
something awful, but I'm gonna diffuse that tension right now. That's not gonna happen.
I know there is tension in the air, so let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room.
What I wanted for you was happiness. If it will allay this tension between us, I'll turn the switch back on. Save your money, Dad.
Do what?
She's trying to force us to talk because she's sensing the tension between us.
I couldn't help but notice some tension between you and Dr. Wells.
I know there's been some tension, and I'm probably more to blame than you are.
Yes, we have. Is there tension between the Israelis and the Palestinians? Absolutely.
Prescribe. Prescribe.
Prescribe.
Prescribe.
Prescribe.
Pain is the most widely prescribed prescription medication in this country.
Just a mild sedative prescribed by Dr. Tengredi. Prescribed by Dr. Tengredi. Prescribed by Dr. Tengredi.
You said you saw Ben before he went to school. That's when you prescribed the oxycodone.
Yes.
Hey, from the looks of things, you ought to prescribe yourself a little something.
Had it been available back then, I would have prescribed it for Emily after she miscarried.
Doctors are men who prescribe medicines of which they know little.
Oh, there.
For which we prescribe the 3 Bs, bed, balsam, and broth.
Oh.
For your insomnia.
For which you prescribed medication?
Yes.
Morphine?
Lance, he's not prescribed to you. That's a felony.
What? This is ridiculous.
I've prescribed alpha blockers and set you up in our free clinic.
Actually, your insurance did.
What do I do?
I can prescribe you something.